Okay, Phil found the recording and we started. So welcome everyone. I'm Jane Mark and I'm the president of Jam Marketing Inc. And this is a webinar I've really been looking forward to it. We're calling it, with great hyperbole, the webinar that will change your life. But hopefully it will give you some ideas about things that you can do in your own business online to make it percolate. Okay, so later on, we're going to launch a new site together with a super great offer. So you want to stay tuned in for that. And of course, we're going to have a special bonus at the end. We're going to talk about really 42 years of Phil and my collective experience about making sales online, marketing, and building a business online. So I hope by the end of it, my goal is to have you change a little bit of maybe of your thinking about how you're selling online. So Phil and I have a motto that simply says, nothing in, nothing out, which is really our version of nothing ventured and nothing gained. And I'll get to that in a few minutes. So the webinar is going to be about selling and writing ads that sell. And if any of you are in any business online or hoping to get into one, then this webinar really is for you. But before we get started, I want to ask you a couple of questions to just get your mind thinking about some things that we're going to get into. And what I need you to do is just throw up some answers into the chat box and we'll get started that way. Here's the first question. People of all ages love stories and storytelling. What is one of the essential ingredients of a good story? What is one of the essential ingredients of any good story? Any ideas? If you throw it up in the chat room, Bill will read. What? Mystery. Yeah, that's good. Mr. Carl says mystery. What else? Funny. Yeah, that helps a lot. Yes. Yes, interesting characters. Renee said that. Great. Yeah. But there's one very absolutely essential ingredient that so far you've missed. Want to try again? Or should I answer it for you? Oh, true. Thank you. Yes, that's it. It must have a kernel of truth that everyone can instantly recognize and relate to. So yes, it can have mystery and be a great story. It can have it can be funny and be a great story. But if it doesn't ring true in some way, then it's never going to get, let's put it this way, it's never going to get on the bestseller list because it has to ring true in some way. Okay, so here's question 2. You did very well with that one, guys. Thanks. Okay, question 2. What should you always include in an email ad that you are sending out? And this applies to a business email that you're sending out. What should you always include in that email? Oh, I'm stumping you guys. Okay, okay. Call to action, yes, definitely. What was the first one? Special offer, yeah, you can. And a signature. A signature is so important. When I see emails without a signature, it makes me very nervous. Why is somebody in a business, if they don't want to reveal their name, even their email. You don't have to put your email in, but at least put your name in. And I always put my name and the name of the site that I'm promoting, and then the name of my company, Jam Marketing Inc. I get, when I'm typing, I get tired. I'm just going to say Jam Inc. But you get the idea. It has my full name, and I sign it Jane, and then I say, Jane Mark, tell me a story, and Jam Inc. So that's one thing that you always want in and when you're sending an email out. Now, there are a number of other things. Some of them mentioned a special offer is can be really important. Um, a call to action, really important. You also may want to include your relationship to the site you are promoting. Oh, Phil, by the way, hang on, guys, because I now I'm allowed to put the link up, right? Okay, Phil's going to give you the follow-up link so you can follow along with what I'm saying. Okay, so in other words, if you're an affiliate and you've been part of the site for a year, 6 months, even a month or 2 days, tell people why you joined this site and what your relationship is. You know, I love being a member of this site. It does this, that, the other. Whatever your personal story is, try to include some of it in the email ads that you send out. So why you joined it, what you like about it. And as we said, never send out an email that is not signed, because it looks like you're hiding something. When somebody says, even though they don't know you from a bar of soap, just because you sign your name, but at least it gives somebody some comfort that you're a real person. You're not trying to put something over on them. So that's really important. Now I'm going to open let me find the follow along, because I want to, yeah, but they can't see it on my screen and I can't see it. Wait, Phil, can you put it up in the browser for me? I have it copied, but hang on, I'm calling on my Aussie partner. Just put that top one up. Anywhere. I think they will be able to see it. I hope. Okay. If you can see this, um, okay, you can see it. Okay, great. Okay, so here's what I want to show you. I'm going to show you some of my most effective ads, and I'll show you why. But first, there are rules. There are some rules for a good story, because really what I'm trying to get you to focus on is your ad should contain a story. It can be a very short story. I'm going to show you very short ads for the moment, but it needs to have something about you in it, and why you're promoting the site. So one of my most successful ads is for one of my sites called Etsy Link. And it starts out with true story. So I wanted to show you that. I have 614 of these. So that creates some mystery, which Carl was talking about, right? What are these? Each one is a moneymaker. So then I go on. It's not important. The rest of it is not important. Earn for, don't tell anyone. But again, now I mentioned somebody else. This is one of Phil's best money makers. So this ad is a very short ad, but it's telling you a number of things. It's telling you that I have a lot of these that make me money, tells you what you can earn. It mentions somebody else with a name, the 4 best money maker. And if you're not Etsy your link, you're losing sales. That's the bottom line. Okay, so I created an Etsy link. There's my signature. Go get them, Jane Mark, Etsy Links, Jam Inc. So the Etsy link shows, oh, the reason I had Phil actually go in yesterday and take screenshots. This is my account. And usually I make one minimum of one Etsy link a day because I like to change them up and I like them to apply. Like when I was promoting this webinar, I made an Etsy link that said change your life at the end of it. So I I create, and this is one, this is the first page, but it goes on for 600 with 614 Etsy links because that's how many as of today. Probably today it might be more. This was done yesterday, but it's true. You never want to say something in an email that you can't show people is really the truth, because when you get caught in big exaggerations, like this, you'll make $1 million next year by the end of this month, whatever. There's no way you can show that to anybody. And if the only thing you have online, because people don't know you, that, it's not like shaking hands and giving big hugs to people, which nobody can do anymore right now. But usually when you get to know somebody, you give them a big hug, yada, yada. But people, it's very remote when you're doing business online. So always you don't have to put screenshots. I'm just doing this for an example for us, but you want to make sure you could log into an account that you're talking about and show them the truth. Okay, let's go to example 2. So most of you belong to Never Ending Traffic View. And when I send it out, I will often say, here are the typical stats you can expect to see for just one URL. Okay. So, and I usually mention the days. So how many days has this site been in existence, so that people will know that I started sending traffic to this link 1,055 days ago, because these are big numbers. So nobody's going to believe I got this amount of traffic in 2 days. So don't do that. Get the picture. If you have good stats or good commissions or something you can show people, show them, because it really can. Now, I had Phil go in. Was the start date on one of my ads for profit from free ads. And these are the views and the clicks, and it's active, and it's a lifetime ad. You want to give stats that make sense and are provable. Now, you don't always have to put stats in your ads, but I'm just trying to make the point about how important it is when you do quote things that you actually say what's happening. Now, here, this is for profit from free ads, and it's an ad for profit from free ads. And I often say how many days since launch, the ad views delivered, and the solo ads that have been sent. And this one, I don't need a screenshot for, because I use my capture page. You'll see this is today's stats. And so people can actually see that what I'm telling them is actually true. And, gradually over time, you build up a reputation online. And if you can do this enough times, where you're really telling people what's happening at a site, then they're going to start buying from you, because they know that they can rely on what you're saying. Now, this is another thing, and we'll get to this later on in the webinar. So cool. It's a huge site we have. It has 130,000 members on it. And we can build people targeted lists. And it's targeted to the interests that you signed up with. So let's say you signed up with 3 categories of interest on advertising, biz ops, home biz, uh, what blogging, whatever you're interested in, coaching. We have dozens of categories, and you can change those categories, by the way, if your interests change. But anyway, if I tell you I'm going to build you a targeted list of 6,000 people, it's so cool. You can take that to the bank. and there's no screenshot for it because everybody's getting a different list. But you can check this out later on. Now, here's a site that's not my site. It's called My Lead Gen Secret. And I have a list there of 200,000 leads. And here's what I'll say about my lead gen, because many people love it and some people hate it. I love it because the leads are not great. Not 200,000 of them are not great, but I get 200 leads, new leads a day. And I have made a lot of money. This is just the commissions that I'm showing you right now. So I've been a member about 2 years. And this is the actual commissions that I've earned. And this has been paid. And so I've got 69 left for this month that I haven't asked for yet. That's if you want a nice little income, that's going to be over what, $3,000 a year. So that's that's nice. Comes in, everything comes in every month, and I get a check for $114, $150, or whenever I request it. But these are the actual stats, which is why I do promote and recommend my lead gen. Even though you will look at your leads when you get them, and you'll say, oh my God, I've got one Gmail lead, and I've got all these AOLs, and I've got all these Hotmails, and a bunch of junk. But I do get a lot of money out of the ones that aren't junk. That's my point. So you can't always judge a book by its cover. And if you're not a member, you really should join this site and stick to it. It's $30 a month. So look, for 2 years, I've spent 360 times 2, whatever that is. Oh, thank you, Phil, 720. And I've gotten 7,400. So you can see I've made my money back over and over. But it's not the commissions that interest me, because we've made a lot of sales through this site. Plus, it's got a really bells and whistle, what do you call it, mailer. And you can get a lot of information from your mailings, like in terms of the stats you get and the opens you get. It gives you a lot of information. So I highly recommend this. I really get a lot of good sales out of, even because imagine it only takes about 10 or 15 really good leads to make sales. You're not going to make sales to 200,000, and you're not reaching the ones that are AOL and whatever else horror show there is, Hotmail and all that. So Yahoo. But the ones that you can reach, you can do very well in. Okay, so here's my sum up. And I get crazy when I see ads that are BS. I really do. By the way, don't use that in a subject line, because I can say that on a webinar, but don't use it because it's not professional to put BS and other bad words that I'm not going to say in a subject line. I know people feel it's cutesy sometimes. I don't feel it's cutesy. And by the way, most of the time they go into spam. Right. But anyway, make 10,000 a day with no work. Oh, come on, give me a break. Become a millionaire on autopilot. I shake my head and I say, who in God's green earth is going to believe that stuff? And who's going to open an email like that? It's really true. You're really hurting your reputation. It's not a believable story. There's not a kernel of truth in those kind of subject lines. So I'm going to say, don't fall for the okie doke. You'll get burned every time you do. But here's 2 subject lines. One is Linda, who's on the webinar with us. Blast your ads to 30,000 per month free with our mega solo e-blaster. I know for a fact that's true because I use this site. It's World Profit. And I use their 30,000 mailer all the time. So I know that's a true ad. And I love this subject line. I forget whose it was, but does increasing your monthly cash flow sound interesting? So notice nobody's saying, would you like to make $100,000 a month with no work? Does increasing your monthly cash flow sound interesting? I opened that. I don't remember right this instant what it was, but I remember saying, that's a really good subject line. If it gets me to open it, I know it's a really good subject line because I see literally hundreds and hundreds of emails a day. And so something has to stand out. So this one was really interesting to me. And this one I know to be true. So those are the kinds of subject lines that you want if you're going to tell a good story in an ad. Okay, so each ad that you write, it needs to be your story. You know, don't say you made $7,000 in commissions at a site if you really didn't make $7,000. You don't have to make 7,000 for it to be a good story, but it needs to be your story, and it needs to be a true story, and it needs to be believable. And you need to own your story by signing your name at the end of it at any ad that you send out. And it's a very good way to brand yourself. Like one of our clients, whose name is Bob Welcome, which has to be the best name, the best last name on earth, right? But he signs his things Bob, and he has something in between, you know, something funny before he gets to welcome. Sometimes he just says Bob recommends welcome. And that's it. Or he puts something funny there. But people get to know you that way. You know, you could have a funny signature that's all your own. And as you said, if you're mentioning stats or commissions, make sure you can prove it. And that brings me to why we are here today. My partner, Phil, he's written a lot of books, and most of them are really, really good. But this book that he just wrote had me riveted when I was reading. It kept my attention from beginning to end. And that's not easy to do, because if something doesn't grab me right from the get-go, I'm kind of one of those people, you know, New York Minute, what are you getting to? My mind starts to wander, or I realize I have a wonderful teddy bear sitting at my feet and I could be playing with him instead of plowing through a book. So it's got to grab my attention from chapter to chapter. Phil's book, I'm literally telling you this because usually Phil sends me a first draft of a book he's writing, and I'll say, oh, this part is great, and but you need to work on this a little, and could you change that? And this time, I swear to God, tell them this is true, Phil. I said to Phil when I read this, there's nothing I want to change in this book. It's absolutely perfect. Is that true? That is a true story. I thought Phil would fall off the chair because usually, you know, like any partner, if you're working with people, if you don't like something or you think it could be put better, you tell them that. But this book, I didn't say a word. I just said, this is fabulous. So he's going to show you in the book how to tell a compelling story that will make sales and keep the cash flowing, which is what you want, day in and day out and year in and year out. And he gives you examples from some of the best salespeople on earth. So you're really going to, I'm going to turn this over to him, by the way, because this is his baby. And he's really the better half of our partnership. And as I often say, I kidnapped him from Australia many years ago. So Phil, tell everybody what this book is about. How do I do that? Wait a minute. Here.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Just give me a quick yes in the chat box so that I know that I'm Not talking to myself. Oh, hang on. Yeah, I know you can hear me, but I don't think anybody else. Can everybody hear me? Oh, you can hear me. Good. Okay. Is it too loud or too soft? Yes, yes, yes. Good. Okay, good. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay. Most of you know who I am, but for those who don't, my name is Phil Baston. I'm an Aussie, and I have been a salesman for as long as I can remember. I first started out in the advertising agency field with an Australian agency called um, Collins and Advertising. I then went to another agency which was called Leo Burnett, which was the main agency in Australia at that time. And I've also worked for Ogilvy and Mather, which is an international agency. And then I also I ran my own newspaper for a while. I sold advertising space door to door or business to business, which is called cold calling. And believe me, it is the most frustrating and the hardest kind of selling you can possibly do. Um, anyway, that's basically a little bit of history. I was taught in the cold calling area. I was taught by a good friend of mine by the name of Ian Richter. And Ian was affectionately known as the calendar salesman. And he used to sell advertising space on these calendars that you would see in a motor shop or, a workshop of some kind. And there would be this picture of a scantily clad lady in the middle and all of these ads around the outside of this particular image. And it used to draw people that would stay in there and watch their cars being worked on. They go around, they look at the ads on the thing and find out something that they wanted and write them down. And you could see people doing this all the time. Well, Ian was so good at what he was doing, he used to sell in excess of $1 million worth of these ads a year. And so I figured, well, if I'm going to learn cold calling, then I better learn from one of the best. So we went round and we were selling advertising space for my newspaper, which was called the Fleurieu Times, which is in the bottom end of South Australia. There's a thing called the Fleurieu Peninsula. And I used to run a newspaper which covered that entire area. And of course, when you're learning different things about cold selling, you run into really awkward customers. And one of them, I was telling Jane this morning, one of them that I ran into, I walked in and I was telling him a little bit about who I was, introducing myself, introducing the paper, and telling him about the circulation and that. And he said, I've already got one of those. And I said, you've already got one of what? And he said, I've already bought one of those. I said, are you sure we're talking about the same paper? He said, yeah, we're talking about this one. And I said, but I haven't been around here before. He said, well, somebody else has. And I didn't want to argue with him because that's the worst thing you can do when you're getting into a client. But I quickly realized one very, very important lesson. This guy wasn't the slightest bit interested in what I had to sell. He didn't need what I had to sell. And if I continued the conversation, all I would be doing is wasting my time. Right? So there's a key about targeting your audience. You want to be reaching people that actually need and want what you've got or what you're selling. So the question that raised in my mind when I was first thinking about this book was, how would you tell somebody, or how would you convey the story about how important targeting your audience is? How would you do that in story form? And I'm going to share with you a little story that a guy by the name of Fred Herman, this is back in the 60s, this character was a member of the American Sales Masters. He was called by Earl Nightingale, who was one of the famous people back in those days, as America's greatest sales trainer. Now, Fred was a very unique man. He was brilliant at what he did. And he shared this story after one of the webinars that he was running. And he had this young guy come up to him after one of these, sorry, not webinar, but seminars. And this young guy said, he said, I'm an aluminum siding salesman, right? And he said, I was going home last night, and he said, I just wanted to tell you this story. He said, I driving home, and I saw this guy working on this brand new house on the side of the road. And he said, I thought to myself, he would be a great candidate for aluminum siding. And so he said, I thought I'd go over and talk to him. So he said, I stopped the car. He said, I went over there and talked to him, and we were getting along quite well, and things were going. And he said, then the most amazing thing happened. The sales presentation unfolded exactly the way the sales manual said it would. And he said, and then I came across an interesting an interesting fact. He didn't own the house. So Fred basically tells the audience, and he says, you're not going to make many sales if the guy doesn't own the house. Right? So the key here is you're not going to make many sales if the people who you're aiming your advertising at don't actually want the product. You've got to find people that want the product. So whenever you're advertising, the first thing you do when you're writing a story about a product or service is who's your audience? That's the first thing you've got to figure out. And one of the things that I've done in this book is I've outlined how to find exactly who your audience is, and then how to tailor a story to that particular audience. Now, you're going to find out different things. You're going to find out how to discover the secret of selling anything to anyone. Right? You'll uncover how to create compelling subject lines, how to create riveting email offers, how to sell products and services in 30 seconds or less, how to tell a story in 10 words or less. Now, that's a really interesting section. And how to write video commercials that sell. Basically, what I'm going to teach you is I'm going to teach you how to create the perfect story for your audience. You can even tell stories in song themes that they use in sitcoms. You can tell stories in rhymes, jingles, odes, limericks, poems, and you'll find out how to sell intangible products and services like insurance policies. So no matter what you're selling, no matter what business you're involved in, tell me a story is going to help you get the results that you need. It's 48 pages long, and there is absolutely, I call it no fluff in it. And as Jane said, this is a page turner. Now, I might be biased because I wrote the book, but to get a statement like Jane just made to you that she couldn't put it down, you ever have one of those books that you buy and you start reading it and everything, and you literally can't put it down. You have to know what happened at the end of the book to be satisfied. This is one of those books. And that's not me telling you that, that's Jane telling you that. And believe me, she is one of the hardest people to convince of anything. She wonders why I've gone grey. I used to have a beautiful black head of hair, It went grey in 5 minutes, I was working with her for the first year, it was grey. Boom, gone. Beautiful hair. I wanted to get it, my kids wanted me to get it dyed, right? Because they said I looked like an old fella, right? What do they call me? An old guy. That's right. And this is my young kids, they're calling me an old guy. Just because I had grey hair. They said, why don't you dye your hair, Dad? No, Jane wouldn't hear of it. She wanted me grey. And she's kept me grey ever since, believe me. So anyway, one of the things that you're going to learn in this book is basically how to craft a story about the product or service you're selling. And it's not that hard to do. It really isn't. As Jane said, it's got to have truth in it. It's got to be on it. You've got to be honest about it. One thing you'll find about professional salespeople, and I'm not talking about the people that you meet in, Macy's or somewhere like that, who, come up to you and say, can I help you with anything you're in, well, what are you looking for, blah, 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 and they won't leave you alone. That's not selling. That's pestering. You feel like you want to, get a bug spray and spray them, to keep them away. Professional selling is helping people to buy what they already want to buy. Professional salespeople don't really sell stuff, right? They help you to buy what they want, what they're trying to impart to you. And most of the stuff that we do online is about knowledge. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is money. And that's what this book's going to help you achieve. It's going to help you decide how you're going to move in the right direction from here on in. And you're going to find some really, really eye-opening stuff in it. Now, the book is $49. Let me put the website up. It's a good point. Jane says put the website up. The book is called Tell Me a Story. And you just give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. This is the website for Tell Me a Story. You can buy the book direct from there, or if you take up one of the offers that Jane's going to talk to you about in a minute, then you get the book free. Right, so you can choose whichever you want. If you're already a member of some of the sites that she's going to mention, then that's fine. Just buy the ebook. If you're not a member of those sites, or you want to get one of the really exceptional deals that we put together just for this webinar, then Jane's going to talk to you about that, and you'll get the book free with that order. Anyway, let me just turn it back over to Jane so she can talk to you about the.
Oh, by the way, Phil forgot to mention a couple of things about the book. When the book is finished, but we're only launching it right here at $49. It's gonna have an affiliate program. Well, let me put it this way: if you like this book, let us know. Send us a testimonial. We'll put your link on the page of the sales page. And then if enough people like it, we'll turn it into an affiliate program, because we were really going to sell this at $97. And I said to Phil, let's sell it for $49 for our people. But don't buy it yet, because we're going to, if you want one of our deals, and some of you may already be part of these sites, but if you want one of these deals that I'm going to go over with you in a second, then we'll send you the download, and you buy it today, we'll send you the download free for the book. Otherwise, I'm afraid you're stuck with the price tag. Or you could just send us a testimony. Oh, no, you can't do that. You got to read it first. Okay, so let me go back to the follow along page. Okay. Oh, I didn't see that it's on here. Okay, you can on the follow along link. Phil, did you put the follow along link in the chat? Okay. So this is where you can read about the book. That's the webinar thing, and it is going to sell for $97 down the road when we can get an affiliate program on it, so you can make some money for it. So I think you'll really like this book. It's really interesting. Okay, now, if you're going to write a brilliant ad and tell a great story for your business, you need to tell it to somebody, right? So I concentrated on some very good deals that we can make on basically three sites. And if you're already, this won't help you if you're already a member, but if you're not, what we did, this is a nice big list of 83,000 plus members. And when we first launched it for the highest level, which is a platinum level, it was $397. And this is one of my favorite sites that we have. And you'll see, I'll tell you about the site in a minute, but you'll see, oh, you didn't change it to 83, because that's how old it is. So anyway, we launched this site at $397, which we now put only in this webinar. Can you find $397, or on very special days when we make a $397 sale for it? This is a one-time payment. In the members area, it's $697. And let me tell you, if you can join One Stop Profits free and take a look around and watch the training tape. But the two things you should know about this site is, one, you can mail every 2 days to over 83,000 members. That's a lot of people. It takes a lot of time to build a list like this. The second part of why this site is so exciting is because all of our best sites are in this site, in the cash builder, but it's not a regular downline builder. It is a downline builder where you can just put your ID in, but your ID shows in the top menu items if you're a platinum member. right at the top where everybody goes, everybody who joins, I don't care if they're free or the next level or platinum, they all go to the top menu area, which says things like solo ad mailings, traffic. What else does it have? It has a whole bunch of things in there. I should really log in because this is so important. Let me just log into my site for a second. Oh, we've got time, so let's do that. This is one of the most interesting things, and people are making money from this site. Okay. See, first of all, join it free if you're not a member, and you can use that $3.97 pay link to upgrade. Let me log in. Oh my goodness. Okay. You see this top menu item, done for you services, list building, capture pages, website traffic. Almost all of these have lots of sites you can join. Like what these are our best solo ad mailers, and it will be your ID that appears in the top menu items. I can't tell you how important that is. This is the richest part of any site, is the main menu that people are going to look at all the time. And all you need to do is go to the cash funnel, put your IDs for any of our sites that you belong to in there, and they will automatically appear in the right place if it's a solo ad, if it's traffic, capture pages, and it will be your ID in the main menu on the site. I don't know why we never thought of this until recently, but it is a really good idea. And not only that, the same cash funnel appears in two of our other well-known sites, which is Walkaway Mailer and One Stop Solo Ads. So once you set up this cash funnel, your idea is here, it's and everything here that has an affiliate program, and it's in two of our other sites. So this is a really good deal. But the main part of this is you can mail to 83,000 members every other day. So tell your good story to those members, and I'm pretty sure you'll make sales. Okay, so that's one. Now, this is a different kind of list. Those of you who are members of, this is for our site SoCal, which is really one of our flagship sites. And it has 130,000 members. I referred to it in the beginning of the webinar. And what we do is build a list that's targeted to your interest. So whatever you put signing up to SoCal as your interest, we divide those three things. And let's say we were building you a list of 6,000 people, we would put 2,000 in coaching, 2,000 in home biz if you pick that, 2,000 in submitters or marketing, if you whatever you chose, we would put 2,000 people targeted to that interest. Now, today, what we're going to do is we're going to, for the founders, we're going to, not only are we lowering the price, but we're doubling founder lists today to 6,000, from 6,000 to 12,000. And we're going to double everybody's list like that. So if you wanted to come in at the silver level where you get 500 list members, you would get 1,000. Here you'd get 2,000. Here you'd get 3,000. But here we're going to start with the double up, 6,000, and double it again. And this is half the price that you pay in the members area, and you can break it down to 3 payments of $295. So that's another. Oh, by the way, you can also post to 1.5 million people on our what we call Cool Wall. That's like posting to kind of like a Facebook account or Twitter. You get 500 characters that you can post. So this is a really cool site. It was one of our sensational big time, hit the big time sites. So that's so cool. And the last thing that I want you to take a look at, and you don't have to buy all of these, but if you're not, we tried to give you a way to get a big list, like One Stop Profits, to get a targeted list, like So Cool. And this is one of the most interesting sites that we do, I think. Front page mail, you can buy keywords at front page mail that go along with your ads, your story ads, and you can own them. 99% of them cost $1. So if you were just a regular member of Front Page Mail, you could go in and buy, like if I was to promote Front Page Mail, I'd buy the keyword Front Page Mail. If I was going to provide a done for you service, I would buy the keyword done for you service, etc. But today, what we're going to do is, if you would like us to take one of your sites and buy keywords for them, and it's a really good deal, I'll tell you why. We deposit, when you buy this done for you service, by the way, you don't have to do a thing. You just buy it and we take over from there. But we put 500 buying tokens into your Front Page Mail account. So, and then Phil takes your URL, which at whatever you want to or advertise. He researches how many times certain keyword phrases have been searched on. And by the way, most of the time, it's better to buy a keyword phrase because most people don't search. If you think about the way you search on Google, you don't usually say advertising. You would say large solo ads or contact solo ads or whatever. Most people think in phrases, not in single words. Phil researches it to find out how many times they're searched on, and he only buys on your account with this 500 tokens words that have been searched on at least 20,000 times in the past 30 days. Now, most of the words he's going to buy for you, it's only 10, are going to be $1. So imagine, now, some of them may be $10, but it's very rare. Maybe one or two will be 10 or 12. So you're going to be left with like 450 buying tokens of your own, even when he finishes this project for you. So this is a really good deal, because if you went in to do it yourself, you wanted to buy 500 keywords. I have thousands and thousands of keywords. You would have to spend $1,000 to get 500 tokens, 1,000 buying tokens in your account. This is free. This is going to be deposited as soon as you sign up for this. Now, the other nice part about this is you can attach these keywords to the mailer at Front Page Mail. Front Page Mail has 2 mailers, and at 21 of our biggest solo ad mailers, like One Stop Profits, like So Cool, like So Cool has a blog in it. You can attach it to that. And 21 of our other very big sites. I don't know if Phil listed them. Oh yeah, you can see any word that you buy, with just one click, you can attach it to the bottom of your mailers automatically. It's so easy. So this is a service we do for you. And some people have bought like this 5-6 times, because when you look at the price, we're doing all the work, all the research, and we're putting what amounts to really $500 into your account. every time somebody orders this, they get $500, and Phil spends the least he can. And it's usually, I have never seen any of his done for you, the front page mail done for you, where you don't get left with at least $450. So it's a good trade. $247. You get left with $450 in your account. You can buy words anytime you want for any site that you want to. We do the work. We search the keywords. We give you the keywords. They're yours forever. Nobody else can buy them. And so I wanted to throw this in because it works, because front page mail works with 21 of our most popular sites. It's a really good deal. So your choice. If you belong to all these sites and you don't need them, that's fine. Just put your hands on Phil's book. It's really interesting. And then send us this testimonial, because if we get testimonials, we'll turn this into uh, an affiliate site also, so that you can resell it. But if you want one of these deals, now is the time to get them. We don't sell the lowest. We sell the One Stop Profits founder membership, even on a special, is $497, and it's $697 in the members area. So this was our pre-launch price, and you can get it because you're on this webinar. And this one, sometimes we do a double up on list members, but we've never gone from 6,000 for founders, which is already doubled, to 12,000. That's a nice big list that would take most people years to build. So this is also a very good deal. And then, of course, keywords done for you. And the purpose of keywords is not just to own the keywords. When you attach them to your emails, your blogs, or a post, a sock wall post at the so-called, it helps you get onto the front page of Google, and it really works. So this is something that's really interesting. So basically, that's the story. We told you the story today, and now you want to get your hands on Phil's book. And if you're going to buy one of these, don't buy the book, because we'll send you the download free on it. These are just related. What? Well, I know. Oh, good. Okay, that's good. You won't be sorry that you bought this book. It's really something worth it. I mean, Phil wasn't kidding. I'm such a pain in behind. Yeah, pain in the butt. You know, whenever he does all of the designs of the websites and does the first wording, and I sit there and go, "Oh my God, no, we gotta do this." I drive him crazy. You know, if you're I drive him to gray hair. He doesn't drink, so I can't drive him to drink. But this book, I literally, he sent it to me in my email. I get up very early. I was sitting there at like 5 a.m. in the morning, and I was reading this book, and I did not have a word to say. Nothing. There wasn't a word that got changed in this book. So you'll enjoy that. And also, these deals are very good. Now, we're here for as long as you want. You can ask Phil any questions. He's still in the chat book about box. What? Oh, he's cramped in the chat box. But he really is in the chat box. So if you have any questions about anything, any of our sites, any of the deals that I just went through, and anything on the book, or tell us a story, we're here, and we'll stay as long as you want us to. And I hope you enjoyed this webinar, because I really enjoyed this book, and it really brought a lot of things together. It gave me a chance to think about what's important in the way I present my own sales messages. And everybody has a different style, but I think we got to the kernel of them today, which is really telling the truth. Don't make them too long. Sometimes you need a long ad, or especially a blog, an article. Um, and sometimes I write very long ads, and then I usually regret it. But if you can keep your ads precise to the point, but make them mysterious, which I like that word, make them funny, I like that, make them true, because that is the thing that will get you a long-term group of people who like what you do, and don't think that you're, giving them a whole lot of baloney. So I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it, but I love doing this webinar because it made me think really, and put my own thoughts together about what it is, what makes a good ad, and a good selling technique. And those things that you guys mentioned, and the truth, which you guys mentioned too, um, it really is what makes your any business go. I don't care what you're selling, whether it's a biz op or whether it's health products or anything you're doing. Um, tell a story. Put your name on that story. Even if it turns out that it's a rotten story and it didn't sell, don't be afraid to take some chances, make some mistakes. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, which is why you need a lot of lists to test your subject lines out, to test your ad out, see what's selling, and and oftentimes something will just fall on its face. And that's okay. That's really okay. Sometimes I turn to Phil and I say, what's wrong with my ad? And sometimes it's just nothing. It just didn't grab people or whatever. And that's okay. Because if you don't experiment, you'll never know. And if you see the same ad, when you first join a site, everybody seems to go right to the promo tools, which is fine for understanding bullet points about a site, but don't use anybody's canned ad, because after you see it on lists all over and you see the same ad over and over and over and over again, you just say no. That's it won't grab people anymore. So be yourself, whatever that is, and don't be afraid to experiment and try things out. Okay, so that's my sermon for today. Jane's Sunday sermon on Saturday. Be yourself. And keep asking questions of Phil, because he's happy to answer them for you. And enjoy this book. Tell me a story. I think it's the best book Phil has written so far. He's written a lot of good books, but this one puts his finger, every bit of his knowledge that he learned way before I met him, in the sales techniques. Um, and by the way, the reason I met Phil is because I bought one of his products, and I couldn't. This is when I first went online. And I did not know anything about what I was doing, not anything. And at that time, they had MSN on you could pop up in like a chat room. It was many years ago, like 20, 21 years ago. And I bothered Phil the heck out of him every night. And of course, Australia is on a different time zone than we are. So I'd be bothering him at 11 o'clock at night his time, and asking him just everything. How do you do this? What does this mean? I don't understand how to work this. What can you help me? Yada 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 yada. So don't be afraid to ask questions. That was the point of my and one day he popped up, by the way, because I always started my conversations, got a minute? And he was then, after a while, when he was getting annoyed, he would say 60, 59, 58, 57, 56. He'd count down the minute to get me off there in a minute. But we eventually ended up as good friends and partners. And so long story is, if you don't know something, ask. Can't hurt. Can never hurt. I learn from people every day, every single day. I learn something from somebody who's advertising. I learn something about a website that I see and I say, "Ooh, that's a really nice idea." And so I really hope this webinar will change your life. Most of you don't need it. I know you're all very successful, but anytime you can just get a little nugget from somebody else, which we all can do, it really pushes your business forward. Oh, the free bonus is 1,000,000 ad credits at Walkaway Mailer. I completely forgot that. Put the website in there, walkawaymailer.com. Join it free. You'll get 1,000,000 credits when you join it free, and we'll add 1,000,000 credits as well. And the way you're going to collect that is, once you join, email me at janemark4@gmail.com. Put my email in the chat box, and just give me your username at Walkaway Mailer, and I will add them. Give us, like a few hours to get to it, but we will definitely add that. You'll start off with 1,000,000 ad credits, because by the way, Walkaway Mailer is a fabulous mailer. It has 96,000 members on it, and you can auto mail them. Oh, I love it. It's a very interesting site. But today you don't have to worry about it. If you love it, upgrade in it. But we'll give you an extra 1,000,000 ad credits absolutely free, just for being here. I love it. The people who succeed online always come to webinars and learn. All of us do that. I go to webinars, you guys come here. You have to keep learning, otherwise you really stop breathing, basically. If you don't keep learning, you stop breathing. I think I've said that many times in my life. So it's really important. Hey, teddy bears. My dog is he's holding onto my hand, licking my hand. Those of you who have dogs, they always love to get the salt off your hand, right? So they're always licking you, and you always think it's an endearment thing, which it is. But it's also because your skin has salt on it, and they love licking the salt, right, Teds? Yeah, I love you. I love you, baby boy. So, Phil, are you still answering questions? Okay, guys, I'm going to end the webinar. Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. Have a great weekend, and stay safe, please. Safe and well. Okay, bye.